everybody, it's Tuesday, and I'm sick, but I'm doing this video anyway because it's my topic. Soundtrack to my life. Tuesday. It's my topic, and I'm excited. Ever since I was a kid, I always thought of like having a soundtrack to your life and how like certain situations. You see these movies, and the music always makes things more dramatic or more intense or more exciting or more happy, and I always like to picture certain things or think of certain songs. And I actually, my ex-sister-in-law, sorry, bro, we used to joke that, you know, that every instant should be just one continuous operetta, and that if you're at the dinner table, you should be able to sing, "Pass me the peas, pass me the peas." The way I approached my like soundtrack to my life is more like a chronological thing, but here are mine. Back from when I was like, one of the first music memories I have, besides church, is Pete's Dragon, which was a movie in the 70s. It's a Disney movie, and if you have kids, you should have them watch it. It's just adorable. But there was a song in it, is "I Love You Too." When I was a little kid, I would crawl up on my dad's lap, and he would sing, "I love you," and then me being adorable and like 4 or whatever, I would go, "2." Then it would go to "Stayin' Alive," because I was born in the 70s, and I loved the Bee Gees, and I loved Solid Gold. I'm sorry, if you're too young to know what that is, go Google or YouTube search Solid Gold dancers. Fabulousness. Andy Gibb, but he died of an overdose, and that's just sad. This would be Thriller by Michael Jackson, just because Thriller was the first album, like physical record album, first piece of music I bought with my own money. And I remember I had pictures of Michael Jackson all over my wall, and I just loved him. Next, I have to like skip ahead, because I would have 45 songs. To college, like when I went away to college, I feel like I was opened up to a lot of different music and started to get educated about the world and all kinds of issues, and I discovered the Indigo Girls. The song "Closer to Fine" probably defines my entire, you know, like late teens, early 20s. Just that search for myself, and the struggle, and I love that song. And I saw them in concert a couple years ago, and I just cried when I heard that song. Shortly after that, when I discovered the Indigo Girls, I met a boy, and I thought he liked me the way I liked him, and we had like a thing, but it didn't go any further. And it was the first like true deep, like where you cry and you feel like there's a hole in your gut. That first true heartbreak. And that song that always reminds me of that situation is "Tears in Heaven" by Eric Clapton. We gotta go to Ani Difranco. I loved that Megan had an Ani Difranco song, because she is I discovered her when I was 19 years old, and she's amazing and life-changing when I heard her music for the first time. So "Joyful Girl," I put "Joyful Girl" by Ani Difranco, and then it would probably be a montage, like "Joyful Girl" and then the song "Dilate," because it's kind of not opposite but very different than "Joyful Girl." But it talks about, you know, the road becomes your home, and the world is my oyster, the road is my home, and I know that I'm better off alone. That time in my life after college, and I traveled a lot, and so I was very like, every hotel room was my home, and it was also very dark part of my life where I was isolating myself a lot. There's also a great quote in that song that says, "I like to take up space just because I can." Right around that time period, I met another boy who was emotionally abusive, and it was one of those relationships where I learned a lot about myself and what I wanted from life, and it wasn't him. But the song that fits that so well is "With or Without You" by U2. I traveled more and more, and kind of ended up finding the love of my life in my husband. And there was a song, if you've heard of Chantal, I think it's called, or her name is pronounced. She's from Canada. But there's this great song called Green Apples. Like, that whole album is pretty good. She's a singer-songwriter. But when I heard that song, I thought, when I meet the man who I'm supposed to be with, he's going to fit that song. And when I met my husband, it just fit. And you're toast and jam. You're cotton candy. You're double rainbows. Besides setting sun. Then Wide Open Spaces by the Dixie Chicks, because I moved from New York to Arizona, and I love the Dixie Chicks. Love them. But I love that song too because it's very representative of my journey. It came out here, and then I lost my dad, and the song Somewhere Over the Rainbow by Eva Cassidy. I think it's that much more haunting because Eva Cassidy lost her battle, I think, with cancer very young. But that song was very healing for me in dealing with his death, and it had such a big impact on, the next few years of my life, and will really forever. Back to Ani, Present Infant by Ani Difranco is kind of more like where I've come through all that struggle, and how I look at myself and what I value. And that would bring me to what would be the closing song at the end, and then over the credits would be the story by Brandi Carlile. Because I feel like we all have a story to tell, and as hard as that story is for some people to tell, it's necessary for not just us to grow, but the people who know us and love us to grow as well. So that is my movie soundtrack. All of the links are down below. I want you to go watch all of them and love them as I love them. And I love you. Have a great week. I wish you a germ-free rest of your week.